They put a camera up your backside.
And right the way along your large intestine. So the idea obviously is to pick up any sort of abnormalities.
If you've been referred for a colonoscopy, you probably remember the moment when a routine trip to the loo turned your world upside down.
I had a bit of blood in the faeces.
The blood was in the samples taken by the National Screening Program.
They found a bit of blood in my poo, basically.
There's a list of things you might have reported to your GP. Rectal bleeding, dark or narrow stools, constipation or diarrhea, abdominal cramps and an urge to go when you don't need to. If they've lasted a couple of weeks and you started talking about tiredness, anemia and losing weight, then that's why you were referred.
I just had a lot of stomach pain and a lot of bloating.
I've got diverticular disease and every now and then it flares up, so I get really bloated.
I basically get crippling pain, and I've ended up in hospital emergency 2 times now.
But remember, lots of things can cause bleeding and discomfort out the back. The humble hemorrhoid for starters, irritable bowel, and a whole range of other things. Okay, imagine this is your body. Food in your stomach goes into your small intestine where most of it is absorbed and digested. Next up, large intestine. Excess water is absorbed back into the body and undigested food and fibre are processed as waste, poo, faeces, call it what you will. It's this bit of trunking that the docs want to look at when they do a colonoscopy. Your large intestine, or colon, it's about 1.5 meters long and about 6 centimetres wide. The camera is like a telescope and it's the size of a little finger that can go all the way around, having a good look until it meets the small intestine when it will stop. But it can only have a good look if it's clean. If it's full of unmentionables, then it's all a terrible waste of time. Preparation for your colonoscopy is everything, believe me.
My dad, my poor dad, didn't have enough of that drink, so he had to do it again a few months later.
Preparation starts around 5 days before your colonoscopy with a low-fibre diet.
Yeah, low fibre diet. And it's very bland.
This is why. Fibre is what bulks out your stools, haven't used that one yet, and leaves a residue a bit like sand in your colon that the doc can't see through. Most clinics want you to start reducing your fibre about 3 days before your colonoscopy, so it's as clear as a whistle.
The day before your test, clear fluids only, all day. So clear tea, clear coffee, clear broth, lemonade, ginger ale, whatever you like. But it has to be clear and you have to hydrate yourself, especially once you start to move your bowels.
Your bowels start moving with the help of medication.
At 8 o'clock in the morning, the magnesium citrate, which is this little bag, in a glass of hot water, 250 mils. And I have to drink that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that can go in the fridge. And I've been told this could fizz. Apparently, if you don't put hot water in it, the granules do not dissolve.
Some people need extra time to clear their pipes, so they have a few extra days of prep.
3 o'clock, time for the magnesium citrate drink. So, cheers. Oh, that's one. And a glass of water. And my 3 pills.
All these medications are various forms of laxatives.
Now we have to get 3 liters of water in a big bowl. Now this is the closest I have. This is the glycoprep.
1 litre is for the morning of your colonoscopy. That's 4 glasses of GlycoPrep.
Yum. I'm not looking forward to this.
The day before, you have to drink 8 glasses or 2 litres. Try doing it at 15 to 20 minute intervals, starting at around 5 o'clock.
So this is a full glass, is 250 mils. Proceed.
This delicious cocktail produces watery stools or bowel motions in about an hour, and after 4 hours should produce a clear discharge, though it could be a bit yellowy or beer-coloured.
Delish. 1 glass. Yippee. If you feel nauseated whilst taking the preparation, stop for half an hour. And if you feel bloated, try walking around, suck a peppermint or drink peppermint tea. The very clean bowel can only be achieved by drinking all of that yummy drink. Now I'm going to drink my next glass. No, you don't get any. When I was younger, I had irritable bowel. When they started looking with the colonoscope, they said, you've got diverticular disease. I had a few flare-ups last year, and that's why tomorrow the doctor will have a look inside and see if all is well. Three more glasses. Hopefully by 7 that's done. By 9:30-ish, the bowel movements should ease off so that I can go to sleep. And then early in the morning at 5:30, I have another yummy liter to go until 6:30, and then fasting, nothing by mouth. Maybe I'll take a bucket in the car.
On the day of the procedure, don't eat any food. If you're on any medication, you need to discuss this with the hospital so that you know what to take and when.
Looking after Ada today and her large intestine is Dr. Tony Rahman and his team.
So basically we are now in the left side of her colon. An example of a diverticulum is just here in that little pocket. This is good bowel prep because I can see the lining very clearly, both top, bottom, sides, all the way around.
Dr. Rahman is always looking for little things called polyps because, if left unchecked, they can develop into something more sinister.
And in fact there's a polyp there. There's a slightly raised area. It's only very small. The picture's magnified 30 times, so that polyp will probably be in the region of about 3 or 4 millimetres in size. So what we'll do, we'll take that little area off, and then we're going to collect that little polyp so it goes off to the lab. The risk with little polyps are that over time they can develop into bowel cancer.
It takes 7 to 15 years for that to happen. If they are removed, that risk goes away.
Okay.
When she wakes up, she'll have a discussion with one of the nurses. They'll run through the whole report. Any samples that get taken today will then go back to the GP. So we tend to get them to make an appointment to see the GP in about a fortnight's time.
Ada's colonoscopy has gone well, but there are things to look out for in the short run.
If you get unusual pain 24 to 48 hours after your test, that requires you to come back and seek assistance. Also, if we've been taking polyps off, any bleeding is actually quite normal to have a little bit of bleeding, but if there's significant amounts of blood or you're concerned, you can either phone us during the day and you can speak to one of the doctors, or you come to the emergency department out of hours. They're the two things that we just need to keep an eye out for.
No, didn't feel anything. So, you must have seen more than me.
There we go, that's what happens. We'd really like you to watch the other films in this series so you understand how to consent for this operation. We'll talk you through the prep in a bit more detail, what to eat before and after, different kinds of oscopies, and finally a bit more detail about what might be found and what happens next if any more treatment is needed.
Glad it's all over.